Jesus, quick. You're a freak of nature. You know that, right? Armie Jacobson, known as Quick to his fighter friends, ignored the complaint and threw a few more jabs, then a solid body shot, making Justice, a 6'5" heavyweight, double over. Stepping back, Armie flexed his hands, bounced on the balls of his feet, and waited. Unfortunately, Justice only put his hands on his knees and sucked air. Frowning, Armie removed his mouthpiece. Seriously? Come on, dude, let's go. Screw you. Schlepping back to his corner, Justice grabbed up a water bottle. He doused his head and chest and then started chugging. Aware of others watching, Armie said nothing. Everyone worked out, trained and sparred in the rec center, but lately, whenever he did, a dozen or more people stopped to watch. He didn't mind an audience. Hell, he couldn't be a competitor if he did. For the most part, he paid no attention. Once he got in the cage, he went into a zone and the world receded. But this insane ogling shit, as if he was a damned sideshow, bugged him big time. A trickle of sweat tracked down his temple from his headgear, and he swiped a forearm over his face. His muscles burned and more sweat soaked his chest, abs, and rolled down his spine. He was figuring out what to say to Justice to get him back in action when he picked up her scent. The faint perfume cut through the rec center air, thick with the smells of sweaty men working hard. Trying to look casual, Armie stared at Justice, but in his peripheral vision, he saw her striding across the room. No mistaking that long-legged gait or that longer, dark hair. He swallowed, frozen. "What?" Justice asked, sounding both suspicious and ridiculously alarmed with the way Armie had locked onto him. Armie shook his head, and thankfully Merissa disappeared into the hallway leading to the offices. Releasing a breath, he looked toward the clock and frowned. Yeah, they'd been at it for a while, maybe longer than he'd intended. His cardio was better than most, definitely better than Justice's, the big lug. Armie walked over to him. "You need to get more gas in the tank." "Go fuck yourself." When Armie grinned, Justice eyed him warily. "Stop it." That switched his grin to a frown. "Bitchy much?" Justice slouched against the wall and glared back. "You shouldn't be able to grin, you prick. You should be as tired as me." A natural trainer, Armie took pity on him. "You're a lot bigger." As a 6-foot-tall middleweight, Armie stood 5 inches shorter and weighed a lot less than Justice. "Lot of good it does me." Squatting down in front of him, Armie said low, "People are watching, so stop whining." Justice's gaze slipped past him, and he groaned. "Yeah, the big dogs are here again." Damn nosy bastards. Ever since he'd signed with the SBC, the powers that be had been scoping him out like their newest lab rat. "Stand up. Go another 2 minutes with me. Then we'll call it quits." Huffing out a breath, Justice lumbered to his feet. "Freak of nature," he muttered again, but he followed Armie out to the center of the ring, and he did his best. His best was nowhere near good enough against Armie. But then, they fought for very different reasons. 20 minutes later, fresh from the showers, Armie was ready to head out. The mid-February weather left frost on every surface, so he tugged on a stocking hat over his still wet hair and pulled a thick hooded sweatshirt on over his clothes. Carrying his gym bag, he entered the main area cautiously. This late in the day, the mats were now cleared. Miles and Brand took their turn mopping with sanitizer.